Reports from the chief engineer. First, item 13A, Ms. Alicia Lopez.
Thank you. I am here to basically show you some really good pictures from the field. I'll start with our Socorro main channel lining project. We can go on to the next slide, Josh.
It's nice.
So we have lined about 4,500 feet of the canal with shotcrete lining. This is what it looks like right now. There's the connection that we're going to be making to the Unit 7 heading where the water flows underneath the railroad, but that connection is being made currently, and you'll see it's not there. The next slide will show a real, and you can press play or click it. This is basically some drone imagery that we collected. The method that the contractor is using, and as we continue on in this video, you'll see them stepping through subgrade preparation, rebar setting, and then applying some shotcrete. So we used the structures that we could, and then replace the ones that we could not. So that is us tying into a current structure that's there, and as we move down the system, there were several that were replaced as well.
Hey, there's Director Duggins on the side there watching progress.
I was going to give you a report and make sure that you knew that they had chairs. Is that what you call it under the rebar?
Yeah.
I never knew that till I ran into you.
They're doing it properly. Wilson and Company is out there advising CF Padilla, the contractor, at every step of the way.
And they're building up the canal banks. It looks like about 2 feet. I don't know, but it's needed.
They're returning it back to the design cross section. That's good. Correct. Next slide, Josh. Oh yeah, keep going. Okay. So this is what that slip lining looks like underneath the railroad. It is a little bit smaller. They're grouting the annular space in between. But as you can see, we really didn't have much of a choice. The inside of that pipe, working there on the right side underneath the railroad, seeing the rusted pipe, it probably wouldn't have lasted much longer than it does now. Capacity still holds to what we can expect that to flow, and this is the step the contractor is doing kind of as we speak. So next slide.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I would like to point out that it's not an MRGCD employee inside that pipe.
That's great. Everyone has their rail safe certification and everything's above board there. So last photo, this is basically the remaining 450 feet that they have to do in 2 weeks. You'll see up to the point where the channel is prepped, and then they are doing a little bit more after the 26th when water is supposed to run. But this is basically the end of phase 1 to be continued in November on phase 2.
So directors, that steel pattern there is very similar to what the Corps of Engineers used on the North Diversion Channel that was built back in the mid-60s and is the current standard for a concrete line channel for the Flood Control Authority. We've got an 80-year lifespan on that channel, structurally minimum. And it looks really good, and I see the chairs there. And
yes, they're even getting a leaf blower when the wind gets really heavy and all the debris comes, and they're blowing it out before they even pour the shotcrete.
You know, Dave Montoya's back there, and he's done more airport paving than any contractor in the state, and I think he's kind of impressed back there.
No, it's nice.
Madam Chair, members of the board, as a reminder, this project was funded through Water Trust Board funding. This project has been in works and planning and to go through all the processes to get to this point, almost 2 years. It is the same type of funding that we received from the state for the Corrales siphon, and we are in the exact same processes of dotting all the I's and crossing the T's administratively to put that money on the ground.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Director Baugh.
I know we have to maintain this. Is it built so that if we do hit it, it doesn't? Okay. Sorry.
Yes, Madam Chair, Director Baugh, yes, that's correct. We have analyzed from the very beginning the heavily maintained sections of the canal. This was one of them, and we used a very robust concrete section like Director Kelly was mentioning before. I'll move on.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I would be remiss, is one of the things that I think is important is one of the things I've challenged our engineering staff with is to, as we look at these projects like this, to weigh the 6 inch or 4 inches of concrete with number 4s and spaced appropriately is expensive, and where we need it, we need to do that. One of the things that I think that we're having discussions around is, are there other materials we can put down that move the MRGCD to enjoying a canal that's lined, but doesn't require the same level of concrete lining for non-high sediment areas? So we'll be looking at materials like that for future phases of this Water Trust Board project. As you know, on the previous one, we have put in for additional funding to continue this project with the Water Trust Board. And right now, again, we have 2 significant projects with the Water Trust Board. The first one that we had is this one, the Socorro Main. The second one is the Corral Siphon. And then we have, again, put in to continue to receive funding to take this Socorro lining to its terminus. My hope is not every section of the lining will always be the most expensive kind. And we would weigh operational and maintenance issues based on that, so that we can hopefully enjoy the fruits of having a lined canal, like less veg maintenance, better movement of water with O&M needs. So I will say that life cycle costing, that's one of the things that we're looking at for alternative cover materials.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Our Highway 147 project, just to recap, this project will ultimately allow the Isleta drain to continue to function as it was, as kind of an outflow for some irrigation ditches. And it flows underneath a large road and underneath our Belen High Line. So I have some pictures of this too, if you keep going, Josh. After we ran into some unforeseen objects underground last time with change order 1, this is AUI continuing on the building the upstream portion. They actually got 2 crews to work simultaneously to do both the north side, which is a tunnel boring operation, and the south side, which is an open trench. So in the middle of those 2, there's a manhole, which will make that pipe angle alignment happen, as well as ease of maintenance. So we can keep going. One back. Yeah, this is just showing how the trench boxes were taken out, put back in, and then as they continue in their 20-foot sections to move upstream, they're shifting that box to protect the workers in that way. So you can go to the next slide. This is the Belen High Line looking downstream. I wanted to add this photo purely to show that we are free and clear of the Belen High Line at this point, and other than canal cleanup, this can run when water's ready to run. They have a few ramps that they'll have to take out, but other than that, the pipe alignment underneath that is concrete capped and is free and clear of that canal. So I will move on unless there's any other questions at this point about one.
Is the bore complete under Highway 147?
Yes, the bore was completed a couple weeks back. It didn't actually take them that long when they had a free and clear path underground. It probably, I think it took them about 12 days total when they got back in there to just move through.
So now they have a manhole 20 foot deep to build?
They do, yes.
The deep one.
So the last one I'll cover is our Story Wasteway project. This is one NIFWIF funded project with our conservation department, where we're able to provide some flexibility on where we put water, both being able to drain the San Juan main when needed, and then also to provide water to the river on a strategic basis. We have Compass Engineering out there, and I'll show you some pictures of that. This is actually a video, you can press play. So it's kind of cool to see. This is more of that drone imagery that we have going on in this section. They're placing lots of rock at this point, cutting out those bypasses from the Story Wasteway to the drain. And then you can go to the next one, Josh. This is a better view of the automated gates they've placed in the San Juan main to help with measurement, as well as automated head control upstream. So they're moving. This was a video from last week, so I think at this point they've already formed up that turnout that you see on the bottom, and they're well on their way to being ready for our water operations team to set up the gauging and whatnot on those Langham gates now.
So, Madam Chair, members of the board, I would like to say that our drone footage is brought to you by one of our mapping individuals who happens to be a certified drone pilot. So we haven't had to file any flight plans yet because we haven't flown that high. But if we have to, we do have a certified pilot as part of our team. So, which can be a thing depending on where you fly, and especially as you get around the airport. So I know I'm adding some of this information, but questions like that do come to my door at times related to safety and certifications of how we do some of this aerial imagery.
Yeah, Mitch has been a great addition to our mapping team, and when we found out he has his pilot's license, we definitely encouraged it, and we'll see where the program goes. We think it could be helpful in construction inspections and many other things. So these are the main projects we have going on right now, current construction. Next month, I'll probably have a lot of these to you as completed and done. So any questions at this point?